speaker, Jonathan Tweet, is a local game designer and children's book author. Over 15 years ago, when his daughter was little, he started working on a book that would teach evolution to little kids. Finally, in 2014, he joined up with Karen Lewis, a local children's science illustrator, and together they created Grandmother Fish. They funded a small print run on Kickstarter, which sold out, and then they got picked up by Macmillan, which published a second edition last September.
Hello, science lovers of Seattle. Thank you. I'm going to be speaking about evidence and how evidence can bring us all together. And I want to start with Grandmother Fish. So this is, she represents the first fish with jaws that lived over 400 million years ago. She's our great-great-great-great-great-grandmother with 200 million greats in her name. If you wanted to say her whole name out loud, it would take you 3 years. And how do we know about a fish that lived over 400 million years ago? Evidence. That's how we know. And so a few years ago, Karen and I got together and we created a book that brings the evidence of evolution to little kids, preschoolers, in terms that they can understand themselves. So what evidence can kids understand? Well, the first thing that the book asks these kids to do is wiggle. And the reason we can all wiggle is because we derived from wiggling fish. So the kids learn to wiggle and chomp like the earliest fish. They learn to crawl and breathe because our early reptile ancestors could crawl and breathe. They cuddle and squeak like mammals, hoot and grab like early apes, and finally walk and talk like grandmother human, the ancestor of all of us. Kids love to hear this story because it teaches them that they're all part of the animal family. Kids love animals, and kids love families, and this story teaches them we are all one big family with all the whales and the giraffes and the snakes. So one 2-year-old was so excited by this idea that after reading my book, she would go up to strangers in the grocery store and she would say, "I am a human!" She was so excited to find out that she is a human, that she's one of these many marvelous animals that have descended from these fish, and that now she knows where she fits in the great big tree of life that is life on Earth. So not only are we family with all these other vertebrates and tetrapods, but the evidence also tells us that all humans are one family, one closely related species. Over 150 years ago, Charles Darwin, he went against the prejudiced ideas of his time, and he recognized that humans all over the world were all basically the same, all part of a very closely related family. And he rejected the idea that different sorts of humans were different species. Yeah. And he got there by following the evidence. The evidence says that we are all related. Here's another way that evidence can bring us together. So this book is now going to be translated into Chinese so that Chinese kids can wiggle like a fish and hoot like apes, all right? So they have a different culture in China, different language, different philosophy, different economic system, but it doesn't matter because we're looking at the evidence. And evidence is something that we can all share and all agree on. You don't have to be like me, you don't have to, right? You don't have to speak English, you don't have to love poetry, you don't have to live in Seattle, you don't have to go to a Unitarian church, you don't have to do anything like me to look at evidence and see that we are all related and that we're all derived from these marvelous creatures that lived long ago. We created a book, but the story that we created is everybody's story because it's the story that's based on evidence that we can all share. The story says that we're all related, and it provides a vision that people all over the world can share together, a vision of who we are as people. And that's what's great about evidence. Thank you.